Hey guys, this week we are working on this Disney-inspired Christmas treat tower. Get it? Christmas tree treat. Sarah Russell over in the Cherry Brigade requested more cheat tutorials. And by cheating, we mean very minimal baking. And boy, is this one big cheat. I have used all these various items just picked up from the supermarket. In the bakery section, you can get pre-made mini muffins, donuts, shortcake bites, as well as biscuits, popcorn, chocolates and Rice Krispie squares. You can make this as easy or as difficult as you like by making the whole thing from scratch, like baking your own mini muffins, buying all the elements like I did, or a mixture of both. Today we are just tweaking pre-made elements into something a bit more special for a more speedy creation. This was made as part of the bi-monthly cake challenge that happens in the Cherry Brigade. This one is my entry, based off the mood board featuring the gingerbread Mickeys. Please do stick around until the very end of the video to see everybody else's entries and help me choose a winner. But for now, let's get straight into the tutorial with regular sized Oreos. These ones are mint filled. You can also get snack packs of mini Oreos. You just want to separate the mini ones and scrape out any excess cream. Slide a mini Oreo into the cream of the larger one. You may have to open the larger one up a little to get it in, but you can stick everything together with a little bit of ganache. You want to make a whole little army of these, a nice quick and easy Mickey themed snack. Next up, I'm going to be modifying these pre-made gingerbread men. You can of course make your own Mickey ones from scratch, but we're going to be using these little dudes and giving him chocolate button ears. I'm just using a candle for the purpose of the video, but you can just use your hob if it's easier. You just want to warm up one edge of the chocolate button near the flame and you'll see it start to change colour slightly. Then just push the melted bit up against the head and clean up any excess chocolate with a cocktail stick. Then add an ear to the other side and leave him to set. Try not to move them until they have fully dried. Once the ears are stuck in place, I've just melted down some dark chocolate ganache. All my ganache recipes are linked below. I'm dipping the ears into the ganache and then slightly part way down the head to make it look like a Mickey hat. You can place them on a wire rack or some greaseproof paper to set. Just be aware if you do use the wire rack, you may need to loosen them with a knife gently to pop them back off. Now put these to one side whilst we work on the next cheat. These are mini white chocolate caramel shortcake bites and they've come already with a nice flat white top. Arrange them on a piece of greaseproof paper and take some white chocolate ganache. Again, the recipe for this is below, and this batch is freshly made and whitened with white gel. It's still nice and warm. Feel free to use a piping bag if you want, but you can go ahead and drizzle it straight on from your spatula. Let the first big drop fall on the paper first and then drizzle the thinner floor onto the tops. Whilst it's still wet, sprinkle with some red sprinkles. I also picked these up from Home Bargains. It came in a pack of red sprinkles, green sprinkles and these cute candy canes. I'm just adding one to each square. These took 2 seconds and they already look like homemade special Christmas bites. Pour out some of your warm ganache onto greaseproof paper and spread it out. Again, you can make your elements from scratch if you like. Rice Krispie squares are just Rice Krispies mixed with melted marshmallows. Or you can just buy them. Push these down into the ganache and then place them in the fridge to firm up. Whilst that's cooling, we are now going to work on the donuts. Again, feel free to make your own donuts or just buy them. I'm using the same bowl of white ganache and just dipping one end and placing it on a wire rack to sprinkle with a mixture of red and green sprinkles. For an alternative look, you can also try dipping your donut into the sprinkles. I preferred the first one, so I continued making those. After a few messy finger donuts, I started to use a cocktail stick. Just push it all the way through and you're able to dip them a little easier. Hopefully your gingerbread Mickeys will have dried. I've popped some of the dark ganache into a piping bag with a round tip. Piping is not my forte. but I'm just adding in eyes, and then instead of following the smile, I'm going to turn this into a Mickey nose. Now I'm just swapping for a smaller nozzle and some white ganache, and I'm attempting to pipe the gingerbread outline. Also adding in a smile and some pink confetti sprinkles, followed by green sprinkles for the buttons. You can of course use royal icing instead, but you will have noticed I've managed to dip with ganache, drizzle it, pipe with it, and later in the video colour it and use it as a glue. It's a great all-rounder if you don't want to make various toppings. Now onto the mini muffins. I have decided to dip these as they are already very tall. If I was to pipe a swirl, it would make it even taller, and I don't want it to stick out too much from the tree. So I've got a sprinkle mix in this bowl, and I'm doing the same as with the donuts, just going to dip it in, shake off the excess, and then go straight into the sprinkles. Another super quick modification. Again, if you prefer buttercream, go for it. I was just able to modify all of my treats with a bowl of white ganache, and that was good enough for me. Take your Crispies out of the fridge and separate them. Gently peel the paper away from the ganache, flip it over and use a circle cutter to cut out your round Rice Krispie treats. Me and Adam could not resist the offcuts of these. The white chocolate and crispy combo was an absolute winner. Then I'm just adding a dark chocolate button and 2 smaller chocolate beans to create a Mickey head. So as I was heating up a small amount of ganache, you'll see it is now oily. And I know a lot of you have this problem. This ganache has split, but it sure makes some great Freddy Krueger looking skin effects. All that's happened is I've heated it up too much, and you'll see if I stir it vigorously, I'm forcing the oil back into the mixture. It just needs cooling down and a tiny bit more liquid added. I'm going to be colouring this red, so I'm popping in some red airbrush colour, mixing it vigorously and adding more until I've reached the desired shade. Then it's going in the fridge. It's been in the fridge for maybe 5 minutes and it's now as good as new. Take your Oreos and dip the bottom half into the ganache. I'm then placing on small white confetti sprinkles as the buttons on his pants. Again, place these on a wire rack or some greaseproof paper to set. Quick baubles can be made with these round Lindt chocolates. Feel free to make cake balls, but these are much quicker and they're usually the first things to disappear off the tree. I'm going to be adding some metallic Moroccan velvet luster, which is a little more on the pink side than I would have liked, but I didn't have red. Just swirl them in a bowl with a fluffy brush to coat them. The first bowl was a bit too small, so I just transferred them to a bigger one. They make some fab shimmery pinky red baubles. Same thing can be done with Maltesers, although they're not quite as perfectly round. These ones I'm colouring with a gold dust to make smaller baubles. And lastly, the best filler is good old popcorn. I'm just tipping some into a food bag, adding some more green shimmery powder and giving the bag a good shake. This can take a while, but the result is shimmery green popcorn that's going to complete your tree. As an added extra, because who doesn't love fairy lights, we're going to be using some battery operated ones. I've stuck down my polystyrene cone to a cake drum using ganache. I just bought this one off eBay. You can make this out of cake if you want, but between the 4 of us, we couldn't even finish the treats off it, never mind if it was edible inside too. All I've done is colour my remaining bowl of ganache with green airbrush colour, and I'm coating the whole thing. You're not going to see this base coat, but it's just to cover up the polystyrene. I'm just wrapping the excess wire from around the battery pack and taping it into position. Then I'm just sticking it up against the back of the cone into the ganache. Once the ganache has set a little, you want some wire cut into short strips and bend them into hooks. Start wrapping your lights around the cone, securing behind each bulb with a wire. Don't forget to check that they actually work too. Now it's up to you if you want to cover this wire with more ganache, but personally I'm going to be sticking my treats on by coating the back with ganache, and I'm certainly not going to die from eating a donut that may have slightly touched a plastic coated wire. Now I'm covering the board using the toilet seat method, which the full tutorial for is always linked in the description box. The muffins are the largest pieces to go on, so I'm using a cocktail stick and a blob of ganache to hold them into position. It's easier to start with the large pieces and work your way down to the smaller gap fillers. I'm just using more green ganache as the glue, which is also forming a barrier between the treat and the wire. Continue working around your tree, adding the muffins, gingerbread Mickeys, Rice Krispies, Oreos and donuts before switching to the smaller shortcake bites, Lindt balls and Maltesers. Finally, when you just can't fit anything else in, fill all the gaps with popcorn. Everything has just been stuck with ganache. I've hidden the battery pack just by covering it in popcorn and leaving a tiny gap so I can still switch them on. For the topper, I'm going to secure another muffin on the top. This one has been dipped in the red and green sprinkles and has 2 buttons placed on as ears. And we're done. This would be perfect for your Christmas table for everybody to have a pick at through the day. A bit of something for everybody, the chocolate lovers, the donut lovers and the biscuit lovers. And it would even make a great gift. I hope you enjoyed watching this one come together. As mentioned, this was part of the Disney Christmas Cake Challenge over in the Cherry Brigade. Here was the mood board I uploaded, and now I need your help picking a winner. Here come all the entries labelled with a letter. This first entry is A, followed by B, and so on. Please vote for your favourite below in the comments. Some are cakes, some are cookies, some are royal icing, and even gingerbread. If you want to see all these pieces together at your own leisure, you can head to Instagram and use the hashtag CBMousemas, and also discover all the makers. I will of course also link them in the description box. They've done such an amazing job for the first challenge, and it's been great to see how they've all interpreted the same mood board. We are currently voting on the next theme of the challenge, so if you want in, you need to be in the cupcake tier or the cherry tier to enter. And a link to the brigade is always in the description box if you want to come and join us. The cherry tier is currently full, but I'll be opening up some more slots in 2021. But you can still enter by joining the cupcake tier. Thanks guys, I'm looking forward to seeing which is your favourite in the comments, and I'll see you again next week. Bye guys.